Welcome back, homeschool families. If you're new here, my name is Ann. I am an educator and a homeschooling mom, and welcome back. So today in this episode, we are in chapter 2. We're going to stay here for another week. I received several emails regarding the home learning room tour that I did last week. Guys, that's why we're here today. Hit the subscription button and that notification bell, and let's get into Homeschool Learning Room Tour Part 2. Want to get into the questions that some of my other viewers had, and I just wrote them down, so I'm going to go ahead and read from here. But number one, it says, how do I teach my child who struggles to read the sounds? The first thing you need to do is figure out your child's strengths, challenges, and limitations. That what took my daughter was hooked on phonics. I got the first box, which was letter recognition and handwriting, which is exactly what we needed at the time. They were quick lessons. It took the teacher out of me, and I was able to help her with these lessons as a mom. They were very short, sweet, to the point, but to my surprise, they were very into the science of reading. I was very impressed. And then for her, it had an online piece. So there was a little bit of direct instruction from me, then we did activities in the workbook, and then there was an online app piece that she loved. Then when it came to time for her to learn the sounds, so I went to The Good and the Beautiful, and this is going to be linked in the description box. But The Good and the Beautiful has a YouTube channel, and this is where they have all of their letter sounds have motions that go with them. And so she was able to learn all of her letter sounds in 2 weeks using this video. And so when we do our review here, when I say A says A, B says B, C says K, D says D, E says E, and if we come to a letter that she doesn't know, and if you notice the ones that are circled are the ones that kind of get her tripped up sometimes, then when I do the movement, so for H is hop, and the moment I do the movement, she remembers, it triggers her memory, and then she remembers what the sound is. So I don't have to say anything except H says, and if she doesn't respond immediately, I do the motion, and then she gives me the sound. So that's what I did, and I think that kids who struggle and kids who have a very difficult time retaining the sounds, it's always good to do songs or movements to help them retain, because it's also considered as a scaffold. Now we don't need those, but I bring that scaffold back out, which a scaffold is just a tool to help a child get to the answer. And so I do bring those out anytime that she forgets the sound and we need to do that. So that's what I would recommend. One more question, and this one is a home learning room necessary, and what is the function of the home learning space? So I'm going to combine two of those questions together. So is a home learning room necessary? So for me, based on my home framework inventory that I did, it is necessary. It's necessary for our home learning because review is critical. I use this board alone is used to review some of the areas that I want mastery. So for example, this right here is a phonological and phonemic awareness board. So we're putting together the onset and the rhyme of a word. So we're doing that together using hand motions, but then she's reading the words. This goes with the curriculum, and this is a very good review, because then when we sit down and read the words in our curriculum, or when we're reading words for our phonics fluency reading, we will already have reviewed that at the beginning of our home session. Again, as I mentioned earlier, reviewing the sounds daily is critical. Our high frequency words, reviewing those is important. Being able to count numbers and seeing patterns in numbers is important, and our math facts are important. These things are super critical. And then this part right here, now that we have sounds, we're able to read words, and with our high frequency words, we can read sentences now. And so you can see some of the ways that I scaffold sentence reading to help her be able to read. I will get into this later in another video, talking about how you can help your child learn to read. But yes, this is part of our room. This over here, this is the expectation I teach students, whether it's Sunday school, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's one student or 30 students. I always start with the expectations. And this is something that when we first started home learning, we went over each of these. I created a book for each of these. And what does it mean to be kind to Jesus? What does it mean to be kind to myself? What does it mean to be kind to others? What does it mean to be kind to my environment? We talk about what these words mean. Morning prayer is important. We're always putting God first, and doing this is critical. And then going over our scriptures. Yes, for us, this home learning is the learning. It is the curriculum. It is what is the backbone of our instruction. And as I had talked about last week for my daily 5 and our daily 5 math and our daily 5 reading, that is also the curriculum for building independence. I'm going to talk more about that next week in Home Learning Room Part 3, in getting into the daily 5. So I hope that answered your question in terms of how this room functions and how necessary it is for this room to have these things up. It's not for decoration. It is specific for a purpose, and it changes bi-weekly and monthly. All right, so those were all the questions that I received in my email, and I hope I was able to answer all of them thoroughly. So if you have any other questions, or if you need more clarification of anything, please put that in the comments below. I'm going to have in the description box a couple of the resources that I had talked about, like the good and the beautiful. There was one other question that I did not address, and that question was how to incorporate independence for my child, especially if you have children living with ADHD. I am going to address that next week. And you all have a blessed week.